Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. I'm Steven Browne and joining me on the show now is Chris Bell. Chris, how are we doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. And we've also got from the Huddersfield Hub, it's Steve Downs. Steve, how are we doing, mate?
I'm doing well, mate. Doing well.
Yes, because we're talking all things Huddersfield Town and the Terriers now. If you're watching this live or on repeat, please smash a like on the video. Also, subscribe to our channel for more Huddersfield Town content as well. And it's all looking very, very rosy. An incredible 4-2 win, 4-2 win over Middlesbrough. Steve, we didn't see that coming. Middlesbrough, one of the form teams. A lot of hype about Michael Carrick there. We spoke about it last week. Went 1-0 down as well, but I mean, I messaged you, didn't I? I was like, wow, what a result for you guys. I mean, just take it away. What did you think, mate?
Yeah, well, you talk about not seeing it. I definitely didn't see it being registered blind, but no. We'll just start with that little joke. Unbelievable. Like, just what when the fourth goal went in, I was just stood there in shock. And like one of the lads who sits by me, he just hugged me, and I was like, "What is going on here?" Like, I just didn't. I don't think anybody in the stadium could comprehend what was actually happening. Michael Carrick and the Boro players looked in shock. Tommy Smith, our old player, bless him, just shook his head and thought, "What? Is this a dream?" But what a second half performance. First half performance was all right. Boro came on top of us in the sort of last 10 minutes or so of the half, and they got the goal to go in at half time. And I'm just thinking, we've worked so blooming hard all half to get, against Boro, who are the form team in the league, one of the best teams around. Got a great squad, and we worked all hard, all half. And then we go and give a stupid goal away on sort of a break. Lad further up the pitch, it doesn't really show it in the highlights, but he skimmed past three of our lads. And then I think it's Pearson and Lees getting in each other's way, and it passes across the box, and they put it in. And everybody at half time's like, what could have been really? Warnock, I think he says himself that he told our players to book their ideas up really in no certain terms, and within 22 seconds, it was all rosy. And what a goal from Josh Ruffles! He won't score a better goal than that in his career, I don't think.
Yeah, talk us through it. What I mean, it was just like dribbling, the composure. It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if anybody's watched Maradona in the 1986 World Cup against England, it's a bit like that, really. I mean, he just slaloms past a couple of players through a slide tackle and then puts the ball top bins past their keeper. Yeah. So, wheels away in celebration. And what I love about the celebration is he can't believe he scored a goal like that either. So,
is this the type of thing he's got in the locker then? Have we seen glimpses of potential of this kind of level of goal, or is it just kind of...
yeah.
Well, he scored 2 goals down at QPR earlier on in the season in one of the games that the Scottish Muppet that we had before actually won. And he, that performance was probably his best performance in a Town shirt. But I'd certainly say since Warnock's come in, Ruffles' performances have got better and better. And I think that's because Warnock simply said to him, look, you're a fullback. You just need to do your simple job right. We don't want any technical, sort of rubbish, really. And we don't need you to do out fancy, although the run that he made was absolutely amazing. We just want you to be a solid fullback. And that's what he's been for the last couple of games. And the Boro game, bar the QPR performance, probably was and has been his best game in a Town shirt. Obviously, last season he...
There we go. Steve's got too excited and the internet's booted him off.
It's frozen a bit. He just can't believe it.
Are you there, Steve?
You've gone. I'm back again.
You're back. You're back again.
Yeah, Toffs had his position last season, so he had to be patient, really, did Ruffles. And so I just think his performance against Boro was sort of topped off the last couple that he's had. And hopefully for the rest of the season now, those performances from him will just improve. I never thought he was as bad as what people were making out, if I'm being totally honest. I know I was probably a bit critical earlier on in the season of him, but I think overall he's been an okay fullback, and one that you can definitely see that could improve. So yeah, I was happy with the first goal. Second goal, then we come on to again, Pearson. They obviously didn't know much about it. Hit his knee, and he just. I don't. Well, no, it was Karoma's goal. Sorry, Karoma scored. Fantastic finish again. Another player that hasn't really shown his potential whilst at Town. Went down to Portsmouth. Didn't have a good game there really at all. I mean, my mate sports Pompey. Hi, Jack, if you're listening, you're probably not. But I mean, what a goal it was against Boro for him, and that'll do him the world of confidence. And he said in an interview, I mean, this is how bad I think Town have been this season, really. But Karoma came out in an interview the other day and said that he'd done a slide tackle for the first time, really, whilst Warnock could come in. And I'm thinking, hang on, if that's the first tackle you've made, then it's not great, is it? But at the same time, he's only a young lad. We've helped him in his career. Came when I think he was only like 20 or whatever. He's 24 now. So if he can improve, brilliant. He had a great spell a couple of years ago. Hopefully he can go on to have a good spell again. And then Pearson's 2 goals. One, he didn't know anything about it. It hit his knee, but we'll take it. And then the fourth goal, what he's doing in the box, I have no idea. I mean, he's just there. The finish is not the if anybody gets to watch the highlights, it's not a striker's finish. He literally hits the goalkeeper and rolls across the line. But by that stage, who cared? There were 20,000 of us or whatever who were just delirious and in shock. I mean, I think I think the paramedics were hoping that nobody was going to faint really after the fourth goal.
What did you make of Middlesbrough? A lot of hype around Carrick and everything. What did you make to them?
Yeah, well, Carrick's the new darling of football, isn't it, really, after Lampard. I think over his tenure so far, they've been excellent, haven't they? I mean, they smashed Preston a couple of weeks ago before the international break 4-0. So I were expecting very much the same, really. I was more in hope because we won at Millwall. They're very good on the ball, very slick. Obviously, Johnny Howson, everything goes through him, really. And Lenihan, I think, the centre-back, he had more touches of the ball than anybody else, really, on the pitch. And Howson does these clever 30, short little 10-yard passes and then a quick 20-yard pass to move the opposition. So he's played at this level for a long time. You'll know what he was like at Leeds, obviously, how good a player he was. So they're a good side, and you can see why they're third in the table. Chuba Akpom didn't really get much of a chance. I know he scored 1 goal, which, to be fair, his header is superb. Just beat Reg, Ramad Edmonds Green in the air at the back post. But he's never had a season like it, really, if you look at his career. Not scored 20 goals before. So they've just got players that are obviously playing above themselves that haven't really before. And Carrick's got a system which clearly works for the players. So I've got no against Boro, really. The Smoggies, nice club. Few Muppet fans, but haven't we all got them? So, I don't think they were too happy at the buses after the game. Mind you, I wouldn't be if I lost to 23rd in the league and, we're chasing the top 2. But I think the top 2's over now for them. I don't think they can catch them, really. So, I was impressed by Boro. That's all I'll say. I was impressed. They're a typical sort of third in the league sort of side. Yeah. And if Carrick continues that, he'll have a decent managerial career, won't he? So
yeah, absolutely. Someone that was pinpointed by Warnock when he came in was Danny Ward. And what have you made of that combination since Warnock came into the club? What do you make of how Danny Ward's got on?
Yeah, well, we've known Wardy at Town for quite a long time. Obviously, came to us from Bolton on loan and then signed for us back 10+ years ago. And he was more of a winger back then, and had pace and a hell of a shot on him. But you can just tell his game has developed into something else with the clubs that he's been at, and he's now more of a front man. Well, he's a striker, but he's a workhorse. He'll never give up on a ball. I think that's why Town fans do like him. We know that he's not the most quality, don't get the most goals, but he works hard, and that's all we can ask for really in the situation that we're in. And Warnock clearly likes that as well. I mean, the first game that he came in, Ward was going to be injured, and within 2 days he was playing. So shows you the relationship between those two in particular. And he had him at Rotherham and Cardiff. So, it helps when the manager comes in and they already know a couple of the players that they've gotten. Warnock's clearly said that Ward is in the ranks with him, really in the trenches as he calls it, and he's a vital part in how he wants to get us out of the situation that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned a little while ago as well about Jack Radoni as well, and I was reading a little piece on him, a bit of a kind of surprise in terms of his role that he's playing in the team now, kind of a box-to-box. I know we mentioned it, a few weeks ago, possibly even months, but kind of a different role that we compared to what we thought he was gonna have, I guess.
Yeah, well, I when he first came in, he got 12 goals for Wimbledon and a struggling Wimbledon side in League One, and done really well there. And you played more of a centre attacking midfield role, and because he's come to Town and we've struggled all season, he's not really had that opportunity to get into those positions as much as what he's probably liked to. So he's had to develop his game. I think obviously under Danny Schofield, he will have been given certain instructions and probably came into the club with what we thought was a certain type of player. Fotheringham then, I don't know how he developed his skills, but he didn't seem to stick and start. He was put in different positions. I think even one game he played left, like sort of left wing back, I think. And then since Warnock's come in, he's turned more into a box-to-box midfielder. And the good thing about Jack is he's a runner, so he has got that energy to get up and down the pitch. I just think he's got to improve his quality, particularly in the last third. If he's going to score goals at this level, you've got to have a bit more thought about what you're doing on the ball, how you're going to put players through. And if you're going to have a shot, I don't mind taking a shot, but you've got to assess the risks. And if you're going for it, you've got to have quality with it as well. So, like one chance he had against Boro, and we could have gone 5-1 up. 5-2 up, because Boro had scored by then. And he totally fluffed it. And it was a really easy chance for him to score. And yeah, it only missed by millimetres, but he should be putting them in. And so I like him. I think he's divided a lot of Town fans, but I don't think he's been helped by coming into a club that, all right, yes, he was struggling at Wimbledon, but the Championship is a much higher level than what the bottom of League One is. And he's learning. He's only 20, I think, as 21. So he's still learning, and he needs to learn more to go on. But I think he's going to be a good player for us personally. I've said it all season.
Yeah. What stood out as well at the end is the way the players celebrated and reacted at the final whistle. And I mean, it just seems so energised at the moment. Is that the main thing that Warnock has brought to the team? Or has he simplified things defensively? They just seem more enthused. Even when you watch him, I mean, I only saw it on the highlights, but the way they're running around and there's just that energy and spark there that you just never saw, under Fotheringham.
No, well, I think the thing with Warnock is that he's a motivator, isn't he? So all he wants is 100%, die for me, run through walls, that sort of stuff. I think there is technical information, there must be, that's given out in training, but I just love what his persona is. So he'll do the technical stuff on the training ground, but all he wants on a match day is at 110%. And if you're not giving that, like we saw against a couple of games ago. I think it was against Bristol City, and Hungbo pulled out a challenge, and he was shouting at him down the line, and he dragged him off. I think he gave him off at half time, and he's not really been back in the team since. So, if you're not giving 100%, you simply won't play. And in a position where you've got to have 100%, and I'm not saying that Hungbo doesn't, but that's just my sort of thought from looking at it from an outside point of view. And like after the game, he loves going around clapping the fans and, like he said, having a smile on his face. But for the players, like Hoggy, I mean, he were ready to put war paint on Hoggy and, start jumping about, and he loves it. I mean, he's so passionate about the club. He's not the silkiest footballer, not the greatest footballer at all. I bet he wouldn't say that himself. But I tell you what, there isn't anybody on that pitch that don't care as much as what Jonathan Hogg does about our football club. No way, no chance. Not. It's not fake. You don't fake the passion he shows. So it's just sad that he's 32, 33 now, and probably ain't got a lot of years left in him at this level. So, which is unfortunate, but and it'll be very difficult to replace his sort of character in the dressing room. But yeah, it's brilliant to see afterwards the celebrations, and particularly when you get a win against a team like Boro that you've no chance of beating, or you're perceived to have no chance of beating. And I think there's a bit. I know we'll probably come on to Watford this weekend, but I think there's a bit of needle, obviously, between Warnock and Wilder. So I'm sure he'll use that as motivation. He certainly used it against Boro, the fact it was his former club, and that there were 5-1 on to not win. So he definitely used that in his team talk, and I'm sure he'll use the same with Wilder this weekend.
Yeah, I saw him say about them betting odds. He wasn't happy with that, was he? What's the beef with him and Wilder then? What is there a legitimate beef there? Have they made comments or anything?
Well,
that's fascinating, that is it? Because it strike me as kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit.
Well, they are in a sense, and they're both Sheffield United fans. I think before, you see, Wilder went into Middlesbrough after Warnock got sacked. He was the immediate manager afterwards, and Wilder made some comments like something that I don't want to quote him wrong, but I think he said something like the whole demeanour around the club was wrong, or something along them lines. And obviously Warnock, hasn't taken that too kindly. And I just don't think they've got on really ever since. And he was asked in his press conference this week. He said, "What have you meant to Chris Wilder going in at Watford?" And Warnock just replied, "No comment." So,
I said, now this is a touchline, Barney. I hope it kicks off. I really hope it kicks off between them, because that will be box off. That'll be better than Anthony Joshua versus whoever the hell he were fighting at the weekend. That's the one I want to see. Warnock versus Wilder.
And the immediate question afterwards was, well, what have you made to their form, under Wilder? And Warnock said something like, "We only had one game, and to be honest, I didn't take any notice of it because I've been concentrating on us too much." So he's got no time for Wilder at all, it seems. And I think he'll definitely use the motivation from that. He'll be saying to our lads, "Look, this guy mugged me off at Boro, and I built that Boro team, and he failed with it." So he's not that good of a manager, and I want to beat him. He's tactic wise, and his man management and his mind games are terrific. You know what I mean? Hopefully
absolutely.
they'll be scrapping with each other on the floor when it's 74-year-old Warnock take on 50-year-old Wilder or whatever. It'd be brilliant.
The paths must have crossed like so many times though, just with how many links they've got. Sheffield and all that kind of thing. You would have thought they'd have crossed paths many times, and you wonder, don't you? You wonder if they've had a bit of a falling out along the way at some point. But yeah, that'll be fascinating. Dwayne Holmes ruled out for the rest of the season. Steve, sad news. Obviously, he had a difficult injury and he was out for a while, came back, and then this has happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, sad for Dwayne. He's worked hard to get back apparently, and he went to go block a ball, and the ball, got smashed against his leg and has injured it. I think it's his Achilles or something, and it's just not good, and he's out for the rest of the season. He'll be devastated, Dwayne, because I know from a friend how when he were at Scunny, he would always ask him what the town results were, so he massively cares about the club. He gets a lot of stick off our fans from, I think, just because we've not, he's not the most talented of players that we've had over recent years, and probably didn't even work up to what when he first came through from the academy, how good he could have been. So he gets a bit of stick, unfair stick in my opinion. I mean, there's one lad in front of me who puts his head in his hands every time he's either starts or he comes on, bless him. But I like Dwayne, and I like the fact that he cares. And yeah, it's just sad that he's not going to be able to play for us until the end of the season.
Yeah, speaking of injuries as well, Izzy Browne has announced that he's retiring from football as well, and probably had his most notable spell at Huddersfield Town during the promotion season again. I mean, I just can't believe it. I mean, so young as well, and to be having to finish his career, it's just sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think that's a double Achilles injury that he's had, and he's not been able to get over that over the last year or so. I think he's only 26 or something like that. So he should be coming up to his prime. And I remember when he was at Town and we brought him in, and he was so exciting. I can't tell you how good of a player he was in that promotion season. I mean, I was at Wolves when he scored the goal to make sure that we made it into the playoffs. And that will always be a special moment in my mind, because he contributed massively, not just in that game, but to the club overall. I mean, he was a great success with on social media, and obviously very inspiring to the younger generation of fans that have now gone on to support the club 5-6 years later, which is brilliant. Casey Palmer's another case in point. Obviously not gone on to have a massive, major effect with his career. But, in terms of his contribution to Huddersfield Town Football Club as well, he was fabulous. And again, it was more than just his persona on the pitch. So, and he's struggled with injuries as well in his career. So, yeah, devastated for Izzy. I think he's a great player, a decent young lad, and could have gone on to do special things at other clubs. And it's just sometimes these things happen. But we've seen before that I don't know, what his thoughts are about future going in, staying in the sport and that sort of thing. But when players have had injuries at such a young age, they can go on and become really successful coaches.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, and that's the hope, isn't it? That he's got that career for after hanging his boots up. Adam, thank you very much for your comment, mate. Gutted for Izzy. If you're watching, please give a like on the video. Get more Town fans watching and subscribe as well. A couple other injury setbacks for Town as well. So Anthony Knockout, he's got a knock, hasn't he? Hungbo, he's ineligible. Waghorn, he's had a setback as well. But it still feels like, I mean, a few weeks ago we were saying about these fixtures and thinking, oh God, where are the points coming from? But now it feels radically different. And especially now, Reading docked 6 points, Steve. I mean, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, well, just first of all on the injuries, it's going to be a bit disruptive with Waghorn. I think Jordan Rhodes will have to come onto the bench, which, I mean, I've been asking for Rhodesy to play for the last couple of fixtures. Obviously, not needed him in terms of the wins, but so that's fine. We're covered there. Anthony Knockout's a strange one. I mean, he's come into the club and hardly played a minute, really. Obviously, had a bit of bad family news over in France, so travelled back there, and has been out for the last four weeks, I think. So, I don't know how much he's going to really contribute to the end of the season, if I'm honest. Bit like when we brought what was his name, Nias into the club. I mean, I think he played about 3 minutes. And that he's a free agent now. If you look on like FIFA or Football Manager, he's a free agent. It's weird. But Reading, sorry, were you going to jump in there?
No, do you know what? It just when you said that, it reminds me actually because when Izzy Browne was at Leeds on loan under Bielsa's first season, and literally he didn't get any minutes apart from he came on in the playoff semi-final against Derby, and he took the free kick in like the 95th minute, and it went miles over the bar, and he never really got a chance. But no, sorry, that just reminded me of that little Izzy Browne tidbit there.
And while you were thinking of that, it was Oman he asked, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember his name now.
Oman.
But Reading, as we've had another comment from Adam, the last game against Reading will be a big one. I agree, mate. The fact we've got Cardiff and Reading, which Cardiff has now been moved to a Sunday because it's going to be live on Sky. Thanks very much to the EFL as well. You really think about supporters, don't you? You know what I mean? Flipping muppets. Anyway, I won't go on an EFL rant, but Town are very kindly, I think, going to put 10 buses on for free for the fans, which is brilliant. But yeah, Reading 6 points. I mean, to be honest, they had 6 points suspended, and so it should have been 12 really. If EFL have got any sort of balls about them, they would have given them 12 points, but they haven't. So they've given them 6. They're down to 40 points. They're down to 20th now, and we can catch them. I mean, I won't trust Paulins to make an ham sandwich. Never mind manage a professional football club. So it's when it comes to them getting results, I'm not very confident.
Where did he do well? He had one job where he did well. Were it MK Dons where he did all right for a bit, and then
it was Macclesfield and MK Dons.
Yeah. But to be honest, boys, like we could do well at Macclesfield. I'm not lying. It's not that difficult. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, congrats for him doing well at Macclesfield. But yeah, Reading is a different type of job, innit? And yeah, I do remember that last game against Barnsley. It's going to be a similar type of atmosphere, but we won't be both shouting Yorkshire, Yorkshire, Yorkshire at the end because obviously they're from Berkshire, aren't they? And they wouldn't say it in the more passionate way that we did in that last game, because they're from Berkshire and the Southern, aren't they? So, but yeah, I think it's an important last couple of games for us. Looking at the run-ins, they're really interesting because Rotherham's got the 4 teams in the top 8 to play in the next 4 games. I mean, they've got Norwich, West Brom, Luton, and I forget the other one. But they've got somebody in like the top 5, and that's difficult for them. Reading's on a poor run of form. QPR must be the worst team in the EFL by whoever's probably bottom of League 2 in terms of form table. So
hey, you leave Rochdale alone. We won a game on Saturday.
No, I like Rochdale. But you are
bottom of the EFL, Rochdale to you.
Yeah, but they probably are the worst team in the EFL. I want Rochdale to stay up. Got a few friends in Rochdale, and a lovely fish and chip shop outside the ground by my
yes.
So I want Rochdale to stay up. But yeah, if we could pull Reading back into it, they're well in it now. QPR are terrible under Ainsworth. I don't really know why that's not worked. And Cardiff, I just don't think Cardiff have. I mean, that game again, to play Cardiff and Reading in that last 2 games, that's 6 points there that could just. Whoever wins them, that's massive, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
The fixture list has been spot on, really, because you look at I think Wigan play. Wigan's got a couple of fixtures against teams around us, and they've obviously won their last game, so they're on a bit of a high. Blackpool are still hoping to stay up. I mean, I don't think that as good as what I think Mick can be. I don't think he's as good as what Neil is at getting out of these situations. No. So it's looking tasty. I can't wait, really.
Absolutely.
What an absolute contrast. What an absolute contrast this is, though, for Steve, because obviously you go back to pre-takeover, all of 3 weeks ago, and it was a very different demeanour you were sporting then, Steve, to be honest, mate. Whereas now, as you say, things are looking good.
boys, I were getting the whiskey out for a different reason, really. Now it's all boom and celebrations. Back then it were just drink to forget what town we're doing on a Saturday and Tuesday night, if I'm honest. So yeah, I agree with Adam again. I don't think anybody will fancy playing us. Certainly not. I can't. Watford on Friday tomorrow. They're not no great shakes under Wilder since he's come in. I know he's only had one game, but they're not going to make the playoffs, so they've not got much to play for. Blackburn on Monday, Easter Monday. That's going to be a difficult game, but the pressure's on Blackburn really because they've got to keep picking up points to be in the playoffs. Luton's on their tail like mad, so that's pressure for Blackburn. And then the games after that get again slightly. I'm saying slightly easier. We've got to pick up some points. If we beat Watford tomorrow, and then a point against Blackburn, it's party time, really, isn't it? It's let's not get too carried away. But I'm certainly
back from the abyss. How it looked a matter of weeks ago.
Well, it's already really is that because we were talking 3 weeks ago, and I think we were 8 points adrift.
Yeah,
and we're there's a point in it now.
Yeah,
and that's
remarkable,
unbelievable.
Absolutely, Adam. The Watford fans will turn quickly if things aren't going their way yet. The owners will, the fans will. It doesn't strike me as a fit. Does that Wilder and Watford? I don't know. It doesn't strike me.
Well,
as
it does with the 2 W's, doesn't it? But it don't mean wins.
Yeah,
if we're honest. They'll all be jumping ship down there, I think, next season. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's funny as well because across the region things have kind of picked up over the last few weeks. We've got, one of our teams is going to Wembley, by the way, which is in of itself quite remarkable. They've had a bad season, but Halifax are on the way to Wembley now for the FA Trophy. Leeds are up to 13th in the Premier League.
No, we don't need to talk about them.
Bradford,
I'd rather talk.
Around the
I'd rather go. Yeah, well,
I just say I messaged Steve on Saturday, and I said, "What a brilliant result for Huddersfield Town." And then we were a bit back and forth. And they said, "What about your lot?" And I said, "Well, I hate football because we'd lost to Arsenal 4-1." But it's a bit brighter today anyway. It's a bit brighter today after Forest game. So never mind.
I mean, to be honest, that's the only result of the season I wanted you to win, Forest, and you put them back in it now. You nearly cost Cooper his job, didn't you? Until they're. Well, I won't say what their owner is, but until he came out with a little statement saying, "Oh, we back him, but we're talking to Vieira behind your back."
I forget Lewis O'Brien. Is he playing in MLS now?
Yeah, this is the brilliant thing. So obviously, our new owner from Sacramento. Hi, Kev. As again, answer Steve back. Come on the podcast.
We'll be speaking soon. Yeah.
Don't ignore him. Steve's a popular guy around these parts. But. Yeah, because he's from Sacramento, America. He might have some contact. Whoever the MLS team is that O'Brien's, I think it's DC United. So get Lewis back at Huddersfield. Get him in. Come on.
Yeah, him and Radoni in centre mid. That'd be okay. That'd be fine,
Jack and Lewis. I mean, they'd overrun every midfield because Jack can run, Lewis can run. So, and Hoggy behind him, he wouldn't have to do any running, would Hoggy? He'd be brilliant. He just needs to tackle people. Just get his rapid legs around.
which
you can do, yeah.
Would you keep Warnock on after the end of the season? If he keeps
he won't stay. He won't stay.
He might.
No,
I think it's under his skin, though, isn't it? This, and I think if he keeps you up, then celebration on the final day will be amazing.
Bit of investment.
Yeah, he'll love it. He will love it.
He won't stay. Look, he's missing his tractor too much in Cornwall. I think as much as the investment is going to come in, and as much as he loves the club, he's made it quite plain and clear. He's working a month, February to May, aren't they? So I don't think he'll be staying on, which is fine. But what I do think, and I hope that Mr. Nagel does. Hi, Big Kev again. If you've got any sense, you'll have Neil in and chat to him about what does he think where the club needs to go. Take his advice. Don't just after the last game, don't just give him his P45 and say, "Oh, thanks very much, Tak. Cheers, see you later." You want to have a word with him. I mean, he's got 50-year experience of football. I'm not saying you have to take his advice, but at least listen to the bloke.
Well, that leads to the bigger picture as well, doesn't it? What structure is going to be put in place? Because Lee Bromby's under a lot of pressure now, isn't he?
I'd love him to stay, by the way, Adam, but it's not happening. So we need to be realistic, mate.
We'll get a poll out on the Twitter.
Well,
see what fans think.
I think if we beat Watford, I think it'd be 100% poll for yes, wouldn't it? So, sorry, what was your question? Oh, the structure of the football club. Yeah. Well, there was
Bromby and everyone.
Yeah, I don't see Lee Bromby staying on.
No.
I don't think he can really in the position that he's put us in this season. I mean, he came out after the Schofield thing and went on the radio and saying he must get the next appointment right. Well, as we know, he didn't get the next appointment right. Yeah. So I can't see how he stays on really. And I'm sure Nagel will want his own men in really, or women, his own people in really to run the football club. He'll have an idea of what he wants to do. Apparently, Mark Cartwright, who was at Stoke, who's been over in America, he's been rumoured to be sort of coming in as our director of football. He was at Stoke for quite a long time, I think, under Pulis and Mark Hughes. So, that'd be interesting whether he comes in. But I just don't see Bromby staying. I could see Baldwin staying. I think because he's sort of brokered the deal. And until the stadium issues are sorted, which I know he's been massively a part of, I can see him staying for that reason. I think eventually he will go because he's more of a fixer of clubs. He likes to go in different challenges, get clubs that are broken and get them sold and fixed really. So it won't be a long-term stay, but I think he would want to stay until the stadium issue is sorted, to be honest. That's only my own thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Bromwich.
I think the one mainstay is broken.
Oh, Steve's just malfunctioned there. Yeah, Adam was basically saying Bromby should be sacked for appointing Matt Fotheringham. And you do wonder. I remember speaking to Lee Bromby on this incarnation of the show way back. What was he doing then? I think he'd been at Leeds.
I was going to say it was during his Leeds spell, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was after.
Yeah. Sorry, who was this?
This was Lee Bromby.
Oh, Lee Bromby. Yeah, so Bromby,
former incarnation of our show.
Yeah. So he obviously come through the ranks as a coach, and I mean, he's had an incredible ride really at Town because he was. I remember when he was the under-18s academy coach. And I interviewed him for the local paper. And then in 7 years or whatever, he's risen to director of football. So, it shows that's the other thing about Town, to be fair. How it will work under Kevin, I'm not sure. But we've always given staff the chance to try and improve internally. So, that will be interesting as we go forward.
You wonder though, with Bromby, if the purse strings are a little looser and he can kind of maybe,
I don't think the fans trust him. I don't think there's any trust there. And I think if this is going to be a clean sweep, which we as supporters wanted, I think Kevin's just got to have his own men in, really, or women, like I say, to run the club. There's no trust there between the fans and Bromby anymore, particularly after the Fotheringham debacle. Yeah, he signed some good players under Corberan for the last season. But I do have the opinion as well, though, that all came together just at that moment, that right time. I don't think it was anything. I don't think Bromby signed Matty Pearson thinking, oh my God, he's going to be an absolute whirlwind under Corberan. I think he just signed him because that's what we could afford for a centre-back at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Why you didn't think that Matty Pearson was going to fit a Carlos Corberan team, would you?
No, exactly.
Or a Tom Lees. You wouldn't.
No.
So
No.
I think that just all came together. Whether he'll never admit that, he'll say he did it on purpose. But I think it just all came together at the right time, and he got lucky. But the other signings, I mean, Mahoney this season, he's been really poor. You know, and the countless other signings that we've made that just haven't worked, just not worked.
Going forward, then next 2 games, what would you be happy with in terms of number of points taken? Obviously, 6 would be obviously 6 would be great. But kind of what would you be happy with as a kind of minimum?
6.
No pressure on Neil and the boys.
No. I think as long as we're not cut adrift again, and we don't, I'll be honest. I'll be happy with 2. If we got two points over this Easter period and the other teams don't win, that'd be all right. I'd love us to beat Watford tomorrow. I think Watford is the one that we can win, because I just don't think they'll be up for it. I just can't see it in my own mind where they'll be, you know, because I don't think they'll make the playoffs now. I honestly do not think that I think the mentality will be more, let's just get to the end of the season. Wilder's come out and said there's massive problems. So, yeah, if we win tomorrow, a point against Blackburn would be great at home. But then again, I said that against Boro. You know, so it could be the other way around. Could lose tomorrow against Watford and go and beat Blackburn. So, I in the last couple of weeks, I don't think now we can call any town result really. But I'd be happy with. I wouldn't be upset with 2. I'd be happy with 4. And if we get 6, I'm getting the whiskey out and we're having a little party.
Well, I'm on Google. Someone might want to tell Warnock this actually, because on Google, the win probability percentage. So Watford have got a win probability of 56%. Draw is 26%, and Huddersfield Town are only given an 18% chance. So someone needs to tell Neil that and just use that, you know, as motivation going forward.
Terrible is Googling it. How it's so favouritism to these other sides. It's terrible.
I know. Shocking, isn't it? Shocking.
I didn't know Google were an Elton John fan and a Watford fan, to be honest.
Yeah. So have a look at the but to be fair, I'm looking at the Blackburn game as well. Huddersfield have got 31% win chance in that. Blackburn have got 41% win chance. So
yeah, last time we beat Watford was 4-1. And De Potter scored, and I think Aaron Moy scored that day, and that was I think that might have been first year of the Premier League, I think. Wow. And the time before that was 2013, and Danny Ward scored a hat trick, and they had a keeper called I think it was James Bond, and he came. No, genuinely, I think
Jonathan Bond.
Oh, Jonathan Bond. Oh, he definitely didn't have the skills of James Bond that day. Anyway, he was only a young kid at the time, but Danny ripped him to bits, and that I think that was 2013. 2013. That.
Wow, good stuff. Excellent.
What you give for a Danny Ward hat trick this time, eh?
Oh, I won't give my right arm because I kind of need it, but I'd certainly, you know, I think it'd be brilliant if he did.
Yeah, worth a flutter, maybe. If you've been watching the video live or if you've been watching it later on, please smash a like on the video. It helps it get out there to more Huddersfield Town fans. We really appreciate that. Thank you. And also subscribe to the channel.
What's your predictions? You haven't given your predictions.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Not be ducking out.
Okay, I do you know, it's the Warnock factor. It's the Warnock factor. So I can't say you'll lose either game. So I can see maybe 4 points. I reckon. I don't know which game you'll win and which you'll draw. I think you'll get 4 points though.
I should have gone first because I was going to say exactly the same thing. It's 4 points, but I can't quite decide which way it's going. Yeah. I'd like to see you get the win over Watford, but then at home, Blackburn aren't that great on the road, are they, of late? So, yeah, you never know. I think minimum of 4.
I'll be honest, all you boys are bothered about is Warnock clocking Wilder out you on touchline. That's all you're bothered about.
Come on.
I like them both, to be fair. So it's all for Steve's entertainment, is this?
Bloody hell. Chris sits on fence more than some politicians, doesn't he?
I think Warnock is going to wind him up, though. I think he's purposely going to try and wind Wilder up. And I think Wilder might nibble.
But like one of them dolls, you know, that you put your keys in and you just let them wind them up, and then they explode, don't they? Or they walk off. Like
exactly.
That.
Exactly. It's going to happen.
Like-
It's going to happen.
Like, comment, and subscribe. By the way,
Yes.
best podcast in the podcasting universe.
Exactly. It's not a podcast anymore, but that don't matter.
No, but it's
it's
all
a
right.
thing.
It's a video cast.
Exactly. It's a video cast. We'll take that. It's new
It's
media. There
It's
we
better
go.
than Gary Neville's Monday Night Football. So there you go. You get proper analysis on this show.
Exactly.
And I was very impressed. You didn't play the music twice at the start, so you're getting better, Steve. You're getting better.
I'm learning. I am learning. We get better every week, don't we? We get better every week.
Production levels are going up, so I love
By
it.
next season, we'll hopefully have nailed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
By next season, we'll be having bells and whistles and all sorts going.
Well, we'll have Kevin on then. Big Kev. Big Kev will be on then.
You'll have got rid of me. You'll have USA flag behind. Kev on screen.
If he'll come on.
Chris will be wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
In a Sacramento Republic shirt.
Yeah. He'll be like, I've watched Sacramento Republic for years, Kevin. Done a great job there.
Yeah. There's that new guy, Jesse Marsh. If you need a new manager, just,
Right, I've told you about Ted
pick
Lasso.
up his phone.
Right, I told you about him. He doesn't even know where the phone is. So just fight down.
It would be hilarious.
No,
if
it
Jesse
really
Marsh turned up. Oh.
It would for you, but it'd be torture for me. So anyway, I'm glad that Arsenal smashed you 4-1 anyway. So
And on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week. Adam, thank you very much for your comment, mate. Really appreciate getting involved in the show. We'll be back next week. I've been Steven Browne alongside Chris Bell. Chris, thank you very much, mate.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
Steve, an absolute pleasure as always, mate. And we'll speak to you again soon.
see you later.
See you later.